Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Playful Humans podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague, and my guest this week is Danny Rosin. That way? Which way? He's a marketing addict and music fanatic. He's from brandfuel.com, one of the co-founders of Brand Fuel, and he is also one of the founders of Band Together, which is a music charity, if you're familiar with like the Live Aid, the huge ones there. Very cool stuff we're going to talk about with Danny. And the show is brought to you by Playful Humans, where we try to band together as playful adults and rediscover the power of play. So if you're a little burned out and bored, check out playfulhumans.com. Here we go. All right, now the woohoos. All right, Danny, since you're a music fanatic, that is Chasing the Sunshine by Pink Zebra. I should have played some Ramones, but I don't know if I would get licensed for that, for your pictures behind you.
It would have been very punk rock of you if you had broken the licensing rules and played some Ramones anyway.
There you go. I feel like, yeah, if they sue you for rocking out, that should...
Yeah, you put that on the resume. The Ramones sued me.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And you would need to be sedated if you're.
They all are. All of them have died except for Marky. So.
Oh well, there you go. So somebody suing you would be from the estate of the Ramones,
which
or
is
Sony
cool.
Music, whoever owns it now, right?
Right.
All right. Well, anyway, we start with the joke of the week. The joke of the week is brought to you by penguins. Last year, I wrote a book on penguins. In retrospect, it would have been a lot easier writing on paper. Penguins. Okay, so here is the actual joke. Since you do awards, you do branded, apparel and branded merchandise. Why did the Scarecrow earn his award? Because he was outstanding in his field. I kind of like that one. I got you two good ones today, Dave.
That's good. That's good.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about Brand Fuel first. What is that about, and what do you do for a living these days?
Yeah, these days, having fun, man. I gotta say, I'm in the world of branded merchandise for mostly large corporations, organizations trying to elevate their brands in the marketplace. We live in, I don't know, such a digital world right now. You and I are doing this. It would be great if we were together, but we're not. But we've got this physical medium. So it's the branded t-shirt, the hat, all the really cool things that are out there. And I think it's the only form of advertising people actually like to receive if it's done right. So our business is focused on really doing two things. One is, selling branded merchandise to get companies' brands in front of their stakeholders, their employees, their customers, their future customers in a way that's really memorable and also sustainable. The other is through a platform that we've created. It's an online merchandising platform, so large corporations can use it to access, to have their stakeholders access merchandise on a storefront. And we're global, we're feisty. I like to say we're a group of cool hunters looking for the very best thing out there that makes sense for brands. There's a lot of stuff that companies can just buy online their own, but if you want someone who really wants to shake things up and do it like it's never been done before, give us a call.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I have a lot of background here myself. So I worked for a promotional products company for a little over 3 years, and on the radio in the 20s, I was the prize guy, which is how I met the promotional products thing. Because I drove around grocery stores and gas stations around Kansas City, giving away all these branded merchandise and prizes to everybody. So I got up close and personal with that. And I like what you said. I think in our world of marketing and selling these days, there are like two marketing loopholes where people don't hate you for being a pushy marketer or salesperson. And they're gifts and invitations. If you invite somebody to a party, nobody goes, "Oh, how rude of them to invite me to something," right? And same thing with a gift. If you give them a cool hat or a free t-shirt from the radio station, even if they don't wear it, they're like, "I'll take a free t-shirt. Why not?"
Right.
I'll give it to the kids and let them sleep in it or whatever. It's something fun and exciting. So I think like there is some interesting psychology around brand rewards, and you can also be very playful. So the point of this podcast, right, is playing for a living. I found people kind of in that space to be a lot more playful, because you're talking about going to trade shows, or you're doing a game to give away a prize, or you're like, I already mentioned, trophies and awards. There's a lot of cool, fun things in that. What have you seen as has been the most fun in your career with branded merchandise?
Yeah, I think the companies that are doing it really well are realizing that aligning fun as well as purpose. I think now there's a real move towards corporate social responsibility, but we'll stay in the playful human side because I think fun is where it's at. I've always thought that if you can, instead of asking people for their business or ask them to donate to a cause like right out of the gate, you have to somehow bring them together in a way. And so offer the concert, offer the event experience, invite them to the thing, and they have that experience. And if it's a positive experience with your brand and you're getting some of the giveaways, the physical manifestation of that experience, people get a little more connected to you. And so you start talking about the psychology of it. I think it's, I call it the psychological law of reciprocity. If I give you an experience and a gift, and all of a sudden you're a little bit more open to having a conversation with the sales guy maybe, or gal, and maybe you're interested in seeing what we really do because I've given you something, now it's time to give back. And two more things. One is there's a great marketing guy in Texas. He did the, I'm not going to remember the whole campaign. He's a great marketer. His name's Roy Spence. Roy did a campaign that it wasn't Don't Mess with Texas, but he's done some campaigns. But he was the one guy that brought all the presidents together at 9/11 to come together as a nation, and which is a hard thing to do. You can imagine doing that now would be impossible. But he said, we're having a fun crisis in business. And that really sat with me. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, Mike, you've been in this industry. Like, what a gift. Like, we have the opportunity to make people happy, bring them joy. And so the second piece of that is, you asked me, what have I seen that's working? I'll say pre-COVID, we were doing experiences around the delivery of branded merchandise. So we created this thing called the world's only swag lottery machine. And you walk up to this box. It was like a big phone booth. It's actually right around the corner in our showroom. Lights around it. Inside, there would be a person with air horns and xylophones. And you wouldn't know this when you walked up to the box. But you were given a swag lottery ticket when you got your packet for the event. And you got the ticket and you had to fill out some information. So Mike Montague, you work for so-and-so, you may or may not be interested in buying promotional products, but we captured your data. When you put that ticket into the swag lottery machine, we got a big handle, you pull it down, the lights, the whistles, the air horns scare the crap out of you. And all of a sudden, two arms come out of the box and hand you something, random branded swag. We did albums, and we had turntables playing, so you could play the albums. And on them, there were digital download cards that looked like mini albums that allowed you to go to a website, watch a video, find out about us, and picture. That's and cool. Then select a digital award. So we were capturing both the physical and the digital experience. We call that phygital marketing. So
phygital, I like that. That's fun. I've done a lot of that stuff too. At the radio stations, we had a big slot machine that spun, and it was just electronic, and it would light up. Like if you get the 3 cherries, it would light up, and then I would hand you a prize based on what you got. We also did Plinko boards, where there are different prizes at the slots at bottom of the Plinko. And I've done mascotting as well. When you said sitting inside, I was like, oh man, I've been inside those like machines, boxes, and costumes that were a lot of fun, but also not so much fun at like 100-degree weather in Kansas City outside at a concert in the sun.
Oh, not at all.
But it's really cool because I think you're right. When people are playing, they're experiencing something different. I mean, getting the physical item creates like a souvenir aspect. It's something that you remember and you hold on to, and you get in ads, we count impressions, right? You get way more impressions than from a Facebook ad, right? That they see one time. So you're building a lot of loyalty. I like the reciprocity too. And then for employees, it's really about being part of the community. If somebody's wearing your logo on their chest or on their forehead, on their hat, that's a different endorsement than them just using your product or service, right? Or especially when it's an employee, they feel part of the team if they're wearing the jersey, right?
Yeah, I think so. The old school way was give out a lot of merchandise with your logo for those impressions, but I think the new school way is to really think about designing beyond the logo. So this is kind of a thing that we really push at Brand Fuel. If I don't know you, Mike, and you come up to my trade show booth and I'm like, here, wear our T-shirt. You're like, I don't even know who you are. I'll take the T-shirt, thanks, but you really want me out there hawking your stuff, and I don't even know what you guys do. So now we're talking about great messaging, great design, and then making the logo secondary or in the label or on the hip. Or maybe it's just a hang tag that gets them to go to a website to remind them when they get home and they unpack the T-shirt that hopefully didn't get left behind with the hotel room attendant. But I think there's a lot of value in thinking that through. What do people really want? How do you personalize the experience of the giveaway when it's usually been many to one versus one to one, which I think our industry is really trying to get to. With regards to the community side of things, I'll share one more experience with you that we created called the kindness container. So about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, we had a marketing event where we're at a trade show and we're marketing to marketers, and marketers hate to be marketed to. So always a challenge to come up with something cool. But our thinking was, what if we could give away cash in a cash blowing machine situation, put prospects in this highly visual cash rolling around. You get a certain number of seconds, I think it was 20 seconds, to grab as much cash as you could. And when you walked out of the kindness container, you were given a button that said, I'm a sprinkler of kindness, a kindness sprinkler button. And you were given a glass mug with some really nice community quotes inside. And it was a change mug. It had a little cap on it where you could put change in and use, where you could drink beer out of it later. So you had a physical manifestation of your experience. But instead of you keeping the cash that you got as the sort of the third thing, we took that crumpled up cash that you had abused in the thing and grabbed and stuffed in your shirt while you were playing. We threw it back in the machine and we gave them crispy $1 bills. And on every $1 bill, there was a Post-it note that said, I promise to take this dollar and to sprinkle it into our community in whatever way you wanted to, in a kind fashion. So they're called kindness dollars. And you could give it away to a homeless person. You could be at Starbucks and pay for the person behind you. Give it to your kids for picking up acorns in the yard. You could do whatever you wanted with it, as long as you could tithe at church, as long as it was something that was related to community and giving back and sprinkling kindness. And so the number of impressions, we thought in the beginning, we were like, yeah, we're just doing something good and fun and interesting. The community's been good to us. How do we give back to them? But if you go back and you look up #kindness container, you'll see the kind of marketing traction we got. People were really blown away with that experience. It wasn't just a selling experience.
Yeah, that sounds great. Obviously, for a charity or any type of buy local campaign, I worked with the city of Blue Springs on something like that. That would have been amazing, because you can see that those dollars stay local if you spend them local and stuff. That's a really cool idea, which brings me to a question about creativity, because I also found that, especially in the promotional products, branded merchandise, that there's a lot of lame ideas. You can put your logo on a pen, right? And give away pens or whatever. And there are ways to make that a little bit more creative, but I found that creativity is really what changes a product into a promotion, right? That we're not just buying something to give away. Now we have a marketing campaign or a promotion, or we're actually building goodwill with it, or a memory. So one of my favorites of all time, and I wrote a blog on it like really early in like 2000, I don't know, say like 7 or 10, before blogs kind of blew up, was a custom printed urinal screen. So I'm going the opposite of your kindness sprinkler. We're going the other way.
Something every brand wants their logo on a urinal screen.
Yeah. So, but you could put the competitors. So like Missouri University could put Kansas logo on it, or Microsoft put Google's logo on it, and on back and forth. And so it was really fun and got great impressions. But I just thought, like, how creative is that? Or you got to be creative to figure out how you're going to use that, like aim here, logo and stuff. But I'm wondering how you come up with ideas, because you've been doing this for a career now. Do you run out of them? Do you like seek and search out new ideas, or do you just kind of allow them to collaborate and work like puzzle pieces when you fit a client and the need, and you kind of shuffle ideas you already have? How does it work for you?
I do a lot of drugs.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, no, it's so two things. One is I'm sworn to secrecy by an NDA, but back during the dot-com days, we did toilet paper with not the competitor's logo, but the competitor's CEO, his face on toilet paper. We went to the trade show, 3-day trade show. First day, we put the toilet paper in. We had our people come in and do it. It was no problem. Then there were people saying, who's doing this, blah, blah. We had to sneak in the second day. And then the third day, we didn't do it. We had a contract for 3 days. They paid us for all three. We only did it twice because they were on lockdown. So we did toilet paper. Second, you talked about the pen. I always think about the pen. So I've got the branded Brand Fuel rocket pen here, always pointing up. Thank you. Yep, there you go. I always think about we just hired someone new, and while they're signing their agreements, why not have a pen? That's such an awful first day for any new employee, but why not have a pen with your name branded on it that you get to keep, and all these gifts? So this employee onboarding. So you think about the value of a pen there. It's about that first day at school or at work or whatever. And someone really thought enough about me to put my name on the pen that I was having to sign these awful, agreements with. But I think from a creative standpoint, I have to say I'm surrounded with amazing people at Brand Fuel, and in my life, I mean, I love the kooks and the freaks, and my wife says I'm a freak magnet, but people who are colorful and diverse thinkers and have different perspectives. So I think if you're there's an NHL hockey team right up the road, the Carolina Hurricanes. They're doing really well right now, and I remember early days when they were coming into the Carolinas. Everybody wanted to sell them like foam stress reliever hockey pucks. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's just so obvious. Like, don't sell hockey pucks. The question, I think, to get to the root of creativity is, what do you want people to do when you give them something? And how do you want to make them feel? And I think once you start thinking about that, about purpose-driven products and things that will create the call to action, then all of a sudden your mind starts to expand to beyond product. And so that you think about the delivery of the product you were talking about earlier, and the swag lottery machine experience, and some of these other things that really create the memories and the impressions around your brand to get people to, sign up for the demo, to, to connect with a salesperson, to show up at the webinar, to maybe be more engaged on a Zoom call. So how do we get them to do that? And I think going back to what we talked about earlier, and this amazing thing that you do with Playful Humans is let's create some fun in this. Whatever we do, let's have some fun, because, we may be adults and we used to all wear ties to work. Thank goodness that's changed a bit. But there's a kid in each of us. So how do we get creative enough to bring the kid out in each of us?
I think that's huge. That is my message. A lot of times I just tell people, if you're going to spend that much money on promotional products or things to give them away, spend 30 minutes thinking about how to make it more fun. Right. So even the pens is a good example. That pens most of the time are a pretty boring giveaway at a trade show. But if you work in a restaurant where people always steal the waitress's pens, put your logo on those pens. That's right. Because then they're taking them with you. Or the secretary at the front desk, you can put a mug with a whole bunch of logoed pens there at the front desk, so that when people steal those, that person isn't out. It's building goodwill with them, right? But you're also creating a natural churn with those, where people are taking pens, so it makes sense. And I love what you said too about personalizing it. So that was going to be my last work question. Then we need to talk about some fun and music and what you're doing with that charity. But personalization is something that's dramatically changed, and I don't think people realize how easy it is and how much more impactful it is. That if it has your company's name on it, great. If it has my name on it, that's way more valuable to me. Can you talk about maybe how the industry has changed and how prices have dropped and what people are doing with personalization instead of just branding?
Yeah, the industry's still a little bit old school, frankly. But I mean, I think with on-demand printing, some digital direct printing, some of that new stuff is
Yeah.
pretty great. But price points are high. It takes a little longer to do. Your product options aren't as good, and you can't be as much on brand because printing that style of printing does not match up Pantone colors for corporate logos, which is a key thing that we really try and focus on. But I think it's interesting. The evolution of personalization to me is not about necessarily having Mike Montague's name on a pen or a shirt or whatever it may be. I think to me, personalization means choice. And I think as the industry evolves, it will begin to understand that when you go to the Nike For You store and you pick the shoe that you want, that's the Nike shoe, and you pick
Right.
this panel is going to be Carolina blue, this panel is going to be white, this is going to be some, leopard print, and this other side is going to be a picture of my two daughters. I'm going to upload those to the panel and produce something that's hyper personalized on a Nike shoe for 10% more that I might be willing to wait, 4 weeks to produce just for me. And so when I think about personalization, I think about going to Brandfuel's website, not just to pick a product with my logo on it, but maybe it's got my logo on it that's a little bit subdued, like I said, but it's picking the color or the style. So if I wanted a jacket, I could pick any one of 8 color jackets, the one that matters to me and the size that I want. That maybe I can choose also the design that I want. So that gets uploaded to the jacket or stitched on the jacket. And I think the future is that coupled with sustainability, again, that purpose-driven stuff that matters. And I think also a tripling down of brand. Our industry is starting to get more and more hip to getting brands into our space wholesale for companies that want their name affiliated with high quality merchandise like North Face and Patagonia and Yeti.
Right. No, I love what you said. Choice and relevance are so much more powerful too. When you give an employee a jacket or an award for their anniversary, that's great. But if you give them $50 to spend in the company store and they get to pick whether they want a shirt, a jacket, or a hat or something else, then it becomes a lot more valuable to them. They go, ooh, now I get to choose and I can pick what I like. I need a lot of hats, especially in the summer. So I would love a hat over a jacket. There you go. Yeah. The value of top level coverage is important.
Critical.
So tell me about music. You started this band together charity, which is basically raising money through live events and music. How did that get started? And I see the guitar on your wall there too. Do you play? Do you still play? Are those all souvenirs back there? How is music affecting your life and the charity work you do?
Yeah, so I'll do the low lift thing first. The guitar has no strings in it. It's painted by an artist who's local with the Band Together logo. Did that for me, which was really sweet. I love the idea of art and commerce coming together, but it's very rare when it does. I also really like the idea of art, and in this case, music, not just painting, but helping nonprofits. So when I think about whether or not I play music, the short answer is I've never played a note of music. I don't understand it, but I feel it. I feel the music, and
me too.
In particular, I feel it when I'm at a live show and I'm with friends. And sometimes when my friends are gabbing, drinking beers in the back, I'm in the front row by myself because I get goosebumps thinking about great music live, and I'm missing it desperately right now. I can't wait to get back to live music, but so that's all connected to the story of, I guess when I was a kid, using my brother's fake ID to sneak out to go see the Ramones, at the boathouse when I was a kid with my best friends, and having a sense of camaraderie and friendship, and seeing a band that just always played, 2-minute songs, really hardcore. I felt alive, and with the people that I didn't even know that were there that loved that same band. Like, you were in the mosh pit, you'd get knocked down, people would pick you right back up. You did strangers. I mean, there's a metaphor for life. Like, surround yourself with good people. It'll pick you up when you get your ass knocked down. Right. So, yeah. Good.
I was just going to interrupt before we move to the charity part of the story and ask you, you're married and have kids. Did you marry a punk rock girl or did you
I married the exact opposite. but she respects my my love of music as well as punk rock. Although I have a little basement set up where I can crank it up to 11, and she doesn't hear it so much. But
That's
good
awesome.
question. I hope my daughters grow up to be, punk rock badasses and strong in this world. It's a interesting place to live right now. They need good sh, what detectors. They need to be tough. But to the charitable stuff, I was I'll just say I got in a lot of trouble when I was a kid, a lot of demerits. When I was in high school, and I was back, doing wiping down blackboard, so much so that I wasn't going to graduate from high school because I had too many demerits, and you had to wipe those clean before you graduate. So I created a club. It was called the Happy Club. The Happy Club helped make other people happy. That was the mission statement when I was in
I
ninth
love
grade.
it.
It was great, very broad. And I had
Yeah.
no intent on doing anything until someone said, you need a charter for that to have a club in the school. And so the administration let us work off the demerits by doing service projects. The first service project was called the Mismatch Contest, where you could come to school dressed in whatever crazy stuff you wanted to, contribute $2, and then you could win lavish prizes like the Barry Manilow album collection that was used from my attic, a single ice
Wow.
skate was another prize. And we weren't sure people were going to show up, but almost every kid did. And they just participated, raised about $400, not a lot of money, but the money went to the Joy Fund in North Virginia, where I grew up. And that allowed us to buy gifts for kids who were, not affluent, not able to have great Christmases. And so at the time, they
Wow.
gave us addresses and names and ages of these children. And my friends and I did this thing called Ring and Run Christmas with the money. We went on, bought the gifts, we packaged them up, we went to their homes. So I'm 16 years old on Christmas Eve, playing Santa Claus, putting the gifts on their front doorstep. So instead of ringing and running like you would as a kid, we would ring and put the gifts down and then run. And we'd watch these kids come to the doors and watch their families. I don't know, their faces light up. I get choked up thinking about it, man. And so I got the bug of
That's
philanthropy. Like,
so, yeah, so awesome.
yeah.
Uh,
So
I love that story. And yeah, I mean, that's another just great, fun, creative way to turn something, mean spirited like Ding Dong Ditch to a charity is awesome. I love the Happy Club, and obviously that's what Playful Humans is. We have a club there, and the Joy charity too is amazing. All that came together, and then you decided to crank it up a notch. So when did you know that the concert was going to be a big deal? Was it the first year, or
uh, I
a
know.
couple years
So
in?
yeah. So one quick story about the Happy Club. We got the notice of an international nonprofit called Operation Smile, and they said, "Look, we want you to become a part of Operation Smile. Kids helping kids, making kids
Wow.
happy." So at 16 years old, I was in an operating room in the Philippines as a a scrub nurse in surgery for kids with cleft lips and cleft palates. And I was like, oh my God, if a 16-year-old could do this. So fast forward to today, 35 years later, there's 600 clubs, these happy clubs all around the world, which is crazy.
Wow.
And so I'm
That
still
is crazy. Oh my gosh.
connected to Operation Smile, and they're just wonderful people. But so 9/11 happens. I'm younger, not married, no kids. I'm with friends of mine who are also business owners, watching the tragic reruns of people jump to their deaths like we all did, and wondering whether or not we were going to go to work the next day and what was happening. And a friend of mine, it always happens. Someone says we need to do something, and his idea was to have a wine tasting. I said we can do bigger and better than that. He said, well, we'll just invite all our friends, charge $100 a piece. I was like, we don't have that many friends. That's not going to be that much money. I'm not a wine drinker. I'm a beer guy. So why don't we have a concert? Let's have firefighters from the area come to the concert for free. Let's call it Band Together for Our Heroes. And let's fly firefighters down from New York City to talk about what they are experiencing 3 weeks after 9/11. And let's use corporate sponsors, those businesses that we knew collectively in the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area, to help raise money and write a check to support these families who were adversely affected up north and the tragedy. And we raised $60,000, and the connection point was live music. So bands from New York who had an affiliation for New York came down. Now, at that moment, it was amazing. We weren't nonprofit. We were running it through a different nonprofit, and the money went up to them. It was just a special moment in time. It was not until 2 years later I had the itch again. I was like, we need to do this, and we formalized the 501c3. It's been 20 years. Come 9/11 this year, we will have donated over $11 million to the Triangle community, to a different nonprofit every year. Live music is the sacred cow, bringing people together and having fun, and doing something for the community, except for last year where we did live stream to focus on racial injustice, which was hard and awesome. Right now we've been tracking up until last year $1 million per event every year. So it's a significant, I think it's the Southeast's largest charitable concert of its kind, and it could be bigger than that. We just haven't really investigated, but really proud of the work and so much fun. And I don't know, the impacts in our community have been super powerful and meaningful.
Yeah, that's awesome and huge. I mean, 60,000 for the first one is a really great charity night. That beats any poker night, whatever you got going on at the church and stuff most of the time, for sure. And then the results from there, I mean, you already said are amazing and astounding and really cool. I also in around like I think it was 2002 or 3 did a charity concert. It was a disaster. Luckily I had a couple of sponsors, so we didn't lose money on that, but it rained, thunderstorm, like tornado warnings here in Kansas, the whole thing. I think equipment got wet. The bands moved into the cafeteria and played for like 12 people that still stuck around after we moved everything. But we turned a profit. We donated some money from there for that and sold some t-shirts. I think I still have, or I might have gotten rid of it. I still had a box of t-shirts for the longest time, about several dozen that were left over from that.
We'll see that. Will we see those on eBay for worth millions at some point in time?
Maybe it would be nice. Yeah. I mean, if I could build something like you have, then it would be the first edition would be there for sure.
Well, can I mention, the Big Slick right there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Major event. So my friends are involved in putting that on. Mandy Rudd, Paul Rudd's sister, and really close friends, and David Schultz, and all these folks that are there. They have figured out how to merge, and this is great for listeners, watchers. They have taken a charitable event for Children's Mercy Hospital, raising $1 million and more at the event that they do. And some of it's got music, but it's mostly comedy and all the crazy guys that are a part of that. Yeah. But they do that shirt with Charlie Hustle, where he does 1,000 shirts, limited edition, 1,000 shirts. They're $100 each. It's a one-time design. If you buy one of the shirts for $100, you've contributed to the Children's Mercy Hospital, and you've got this connection point of giving that when people see that shirt, they know in Kansas City. And I think that is the confluence of marketing and cause coming together in the most special of ways.
I agree. It's super cool. I've gotten to meet Paul Rudd at a different Chiefs charity event, but the softball game, the comedy nights, I mean, they're really having as much fun as you can humanly have with it and making a huge impact. I think it just sums up everything that we're talking about. And we even tied in the branded merchandise and the t-shirts and everything, and how to leverage those to increase the event, make it special, raise a whole bunch of money. I think all that's great. Any other final thoughts, takeaways, or lessons learned from all that, or before we wrap up?
I like saying, your dreams and your day job should coexist. And what I mean by that is, like, Mike, you've got a day job and this Playful Human things. It's like, it's coexisting. It doesn't mean that you've got to, thank you for working number 5,221. You got to figure something out in your company. You can't have something on the side. Your side hustle might be giving or music or fun, whatever it is. But I think those things actually can, the skills that you get in the nonprofit sector, for example, as a volunteer, the leadership skills, the connections to people, you can bring that back into your for-profit life. If you've got it's kind of a dead end job and you're frustrated with it, you can't leave. I think you can find your passion, your dream, on the outside of that, and you need to go for it, because that may create some balance in your life. And I think those two things, I've been so lucky to be able to bring them together. So dreams in your day job, they should coexist.
I love that. I totally second it. And I think you have inspired me and reminded me that I've kind of let my charity work lax. And I really had a ton of fun with that as a kid. My family did caroling parties to old folks' homes and homes for special needs girls and stuff around the holidays. And it was one of the most fun days of the year. I did AmeriCorps National Service Committee, where I taught math and science to out of work people, computers to elderly, and science to inner city kids and stuff. And it was so much fun and enjoyable. And they can be little outlets for your passion. So my soccer coach started a Kicking for Kids charity for the Children's Miracle Network, where we started as a juggling contest and then turned to a 3-on-3 soccer tournament. I forget what the last count is, but I think close to $2 million for the Children's Miracle Network.
Wow, that's a big number.
Through that over several years. But yeah, I mean, all that you really did inspire me. I think some of those things have just dropped off over the years, and especially last year with COVID, that I think when we can get back in together, now's the time to do something cool, make an impact, and have some fun. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us. Do you want to play a game?
Of course, please. And yes.
All right. I'm going to spin the prize wheel here. And you got 2 truths and a lie. 2 truths and a lie is easy. I have some prepared for myself. So I'll start. You guess which one is the lie. For some reason, I was on an animal kick today, but I have played the big bad wolf. I have been a horse in the school play, or classically in middle school, I was the tree. Which one of those?
Let's say that the lie is the tree.
Oh, you nailed it. Nice job. All right. I'll work on that one for next time.
Your personality is way bigger than a tree, my friend. Always has been, I bet.
Well, they did put it in the horse costume. However, I am proud to say that I was the front of the horse, not the horse's backside in that one. That goes to my buddy, Jason. All right. How about you?
Okay. Mine are not as simple, but once I bought a block of cream cheese thinking it was a Klondike bar. 2, I did a dare to care where I jumped into an ice cold pool for $2,500 for Band Together. And 3, I had the most demerits on record when I was in my high school.
Oh man, you did mention the demerits earlier. The other 2 are also semi-believable. So I'm going to say you did some sort of polar bear plunge, and I'm going to go with the lie is the sour cream or cream cheese.
Cream cheese Klondike bar. That was true. I was not sober. It was, and I bought 2 of them.
How far did you get into it, though?
Yeah, I was probably halfway through. My friend was like, "Why are you eating cream cheese?" I was like, "It's a Klondike bar." He was like, "No, dude. The packaging is the exact same." I was like, "That's why they cost $14 at the store on campus." No, the lie is the skinny dipping. I did jump in, but I was fully clothed.
Oh, I didn't hear the skinny dipping part. Dang it. All right. Well, nicely done and well played. Thank you for being on the show. Any final asks or gives for our audience?
No, man. I think, the genesis of what you're doing, the Playful Humans thing, find that place inside you. You may be in a dark place after COVID. People are going through some really tough stuff. Nonprofits are struggling right now. I think you can find like some joy inside you by giving back. That is the greatest thing to do is to be able to serve in some capacity and bring your friends and your coworkers and your family along for the ride. It should be a community event.
I love that. Once again, that's Danny Rosin. You can find him at brandfuel.com if you need some fuel for your brand in merchandising, promotional products and such. Go to brandfuel.com. And bandtogethernc.org is the charity. Definitely follow that, subscribe and follow, and check out when the next event is. For Playful Humans, subscribe to this podcast, iTunes, Google Play, and especially check out the video on YouTube. It's a little more fun to see what we're doing here. And join the club. Other playful adults trying to find more fun, flow, and fulfillment. Playfulhumans.com.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep on chasing the sunshine and go out and play.
Go play, everybody.